Good afternoon and welcome to Art and the Industry. My name is Dominic Hari and today I will be discussing an interview I conducted via email with Barry Phillips, a lighting designer and lab instructor for show production here at Full Sail University. So let's jump right in. The first question was, what do you see as the role of the visual arts in society today, particularly in your profession? Barry's response was that we live in a very visual world. The 24-hour news channels bring everything that is happening right into our living rooms and everywhere else all day and night. Good websites have to have visual elements, particularly if you are marketing a product. And social media has everyone trying to impress with their latest pictures and videos. We are bombarded with images from the time we get up to the time we go to bed. I agree with Barry. Nowadays, everyone is quick to post a picture, and socially we are open to it all. Now, the second question was, new communications and media technologies make imagery almost instantly available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or negative influence on your field? Barry replied with, both. People today have all of the information in the world available at their fingertips. When I was a kid, if you wanted to see a famous painting or photograph, you head to the library and hope you could find something in the encyclopedia. That limited your knowledge but also required you to be resourceful. Today, you can enter a search term into your phone and get 9 million hits in a nanosecond. Sites like Flickr or Shutterfly let you travel around the world, see the world's great museums and natural wonders, and never leave your chair. Movies? Netflix delivers them right to your smartphone. Having an instant access to information is great, but I think it tends to make us lazy too. I think having to, or even better, getting to, explore and search for something makes finding it a lot more satisfying. Barry has some good points, getting the pros and cons of it all. The next question was, what popular images do you see that are frequently repeated throughout your industry? Barry commented, we repurpose just about everything, but some of the images that get repeated a lot are the more iconic album covers, photographs, and artworks that come from the early 60s and 70s. Abbey Road album cover has probably been recreated and spoofed more than any other album in history. Famous photographs of Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Marilyn Monroe, and scenes from Woodstock are now considered collectible works of art. Now, who is one of your favorite visual artists, and or what is your favorite style of visual art? Barry told us, most of what I learned early on about art I learned from Monty Python. The same goes for classical music and PDQ Bach, so my taste may be a little bit warped. I like very bold colors and vivid imagery, so some of my favorite artists have been people like Alexander Calder, Leroy Neiman, Robert Indiana, and Peter Max. Names that probably make art purists scream, who work on a grand scale and whose colors wake up my brain and stimulate my senses in ways that are important to my creative process. I like the work of Robert Weiland and his oceanscapes, which are always very colorful. Dale Chihuly's work with glass sculpture always fascinates me. And the work of Salvador Dali is always very interesting in his use of color. Artists you've probably never heard of, like Bill Ballantine and Jim Howell, who have created vivid art portraits of circus performers. Richard Fick, who is my friend and marvelous artist and costume designer. Dan Foote was an artist and costume designer who did the costumes for Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey's Circus and Disney's on Ice for years. His unique style using bold color combinations, swirls, and feathers that some of us call circus drag have never been duplicated, and his original renderings are highly valued in the theater and circus community. My favorite artist? That would be my 4-year-old nephew Ethan. I've got 2 of the coolest paintings of flowers that he did in preschool on my wall at home. All those artists have done great work. Now the final question is, how has your knowledge and famous artworks influenced your creative process? Barry commented, obviously, color and composition are very important to a lighting designer, whether you are trying to do subtle lighting of a theatrical set or a big and loud lighting of a rock and roll show. But I tend to draw a little more from other areas like photography and animation. I also try to keep my work very clean with a lot of straight lines and try to use a limited color palette when creating those looks, since too much color and lighting tends to turn everything into a mushy brown soup. The knowledge that I have of famous artwork has an influence on my creative process, but I draw inspiration from many different areas: art, movies, cartoons, architecture, photos, sunsets, a trip to the zoo, or a walk around the Florida Mall. Any and all of those things can be an important part of my weird creative world.